All right, let's talk about one of the biggest wins you can get in modern web development, creating those super fast, seamless experiences that users just love. We're going to dive into how ReactRouter helps us ditch those clunky old-school page reloads for good.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You click a link, and for a split second, the whole screen just goes blank, a flash of white, before the next page finally loads in. It feels slow, it feels dated. We're going to call it the white flash of doom, and today we are going to make it a thing of the past.
So what's the secret? Well, it all comes down to the difference between a traditional website and what we call a single-page application, or SPA. With a traditional site, every single click means your browser has to go all the way back to the server, ask for a brand new HTML file, and then render it from scratch. But with an SPA, it's different. The app loads just once, and from then on, it just swaps out the pieces of content that need to change, right there in the browser. The result? It feels instant. It's fast. It's fluid. It's what people expect now.
So, how do we get this magic in our React apps? Well, the key that unlocks all of this for us is a library called ReactRouter. It's basically the navigation system for our application, letting us handle all the URLs and views without ever having to do another full-page reload. Okay, so let's get our hands dirty. In part 1, we're going to cover the setup. You've got to get this right first. Think of it like this. We're about to build a big apartment building. Before we can do anything else, we have to pour a solid foundation. That's what this step is. And honestly, getting started is super simple. It's really just a 3-step dance. First, you install the library. Then, you import a component called BrowserRouter, and finally, you just wrap your entire app with it. That's it. That's the whole setup.
Here's what that looks like in the code, right in your main index.js file. You just take your top-level app component and wrap it inside BrowserRouter. Done. By doing this, we're basically putting our entire application inside that apartment building we talked about. Now, everything inside has access to the building's internal navigation system.
Okay, so we've got our building. Great, but right now it's just an empty shell. A building isn't very useful without floors or apartment numbers. So for part 2, we need to create the directory. We need to tell our app which pages or components live at which URL addresses.
And the main tool we're going to use for this is the route component. Its job is incredibly simple, but so powerful. It's basically just a rule. It says when the URL in the browser's address bar is this path, then you need to render that component. That's the core logic right there.
Now, before we start adding all of our individual rules, we need a place to put them. For that, we use the routes component. Just think of this as the main directory board you see in the lobby of our apartment building. It's where we're going to list all the different apartments and where to find them.
So let's add our very first listing to the board. We put a route component inside. The path prop says this rule is for the home page, just a single slash, and the element prop tells it to render our home component. So our directory now says path/destination the home page. Easy, right? And what about other pages? Well, it's the exact same process. We just add another route component. This one says if the path is /about, then render the about component. And just like that, our directory board is starting to fill up, and our app knows exactly what to display for each URL. Okay, this is great. We have our building, and we have our directory in the lobby that tells us where everything is. But how do people actually get from the lobby to the About Us apartment on the second floor? This brings us to the final crucial piece of the puzzle, enabling that instant navigation.
And this is maybe the most important part to understand. In the old world, we used a standard HTML anchor tag, a:/href. Using that is like walking out the front door of our apartment building, going around the block and coming back in through a different entrance. It forces a whole reload. But the ReactRouter way, we use the link component. Think of this as the elevator inside the building. It takes you right where you need to go instantly, and you never ever have to leave.
And using it is a piece of cake. You just import link from the library and then use it pretty much exactly like you'd use a normal A tag, but you use the to prop instead of href. When a user clicks one of these, ReactRouter steps in, stops the browser from doing a full reload, updates the URL bar for you, and just swaps in the right component. It's completely seamless.
And that's really it. With just those 3 core ideas, the BrowserRouter, routes, and links, you've done something pretty amazing. You've taken what could have been a clunky set of disconnected pages and turned it into a smooth, modern, and genuinely enjoyable experience for your users. So let's just quickly run through the key takeaways one more time. ReactRouter is what lets us build these incredible single-page apps. The browser router is the foundation, our apartment building. The route component is the directory, mapping our paths to our pages. And finally, the link component is our magic elevator, giving us that instant, reload-free navigation.
When you master these tools, you're not just coding pages anymore. You're actually designing a journey. The entire flow, the whole feel of the experience is in your hands. So I guess the only question left is, where are you gonna lead them first?